Welcome to the Big Picture Retirement Show, where you'll learn what it really takes to have a successful retirement. With over 20 years of experience, your host, Reid Abedeen of Safeguard Investment Advisory Group, has seen it all and is here to help you achieve your retirement dreams. This is the Big Picture Retirement Show.
Welcome into the Big Picture Retirement Show with Reid Abedeen. I'm Mark Elliott. Reid is the managing partner at Safeguard Investment Advisory Group. You can always find out more about the team by going to the website safeguardinvestment.com. Now, this team, that would be Reid, it would be Eddie Soto, it would be Rick Rivera. They've been doing this for over 20 years, and it's all about helping you figure out where you are on that retirement landscape, if you will. Maybe you're 5 or 10 years out. What a great time to come in and sit down with the team and talk about what your hopes and dreams are, and is there money in the right place, or you invested the right way so you have a great retirement. Or maybe you're retired and you have some questions. But that's really what they're here to do, is help you and walk you through that big picture blueprint of income, investment, taxes, healthcare, legacy planning, Social Security, Medicare. There's a lot on your plate as a retiree. If you'd like to sit down and have a conversation with them, you certainly can. You can have a 15-minute strategy call with Reid himself just by picking up the phone and calling 951-596-5566. You can also just text the word visit to that number if you'd like to, and then the team will get back in touch with you. It's 951-596-5566. Hey, Reid, how are you? You ready to go?
I'm good, Mark. How are you?
I am good, and I thought it'd be kind of fun today if we just took some of the maybe retirement myths and talked about them, and maybe knock 3 of them out in this segment and then 3 of them in the next segment. And I'll throw out a myth, and then you can discuss it. Is that still kind of the thought, or what's the reason behind that, that kind of thing? Are you good with that?
I like it. I think that's a good way to make people aware of what they should look out for, become an informed consumer, which I'm big on.
All right, the first myth is that we will spend much less in retirement than we do during our working years.
So that is a myth, because when someone retires, and we guide people all the time when they're approaching retirement, we always tell them, hey, listen, make sure you have a plan. Travel, enjoy, whether it's play more golf, do the things that you haven't done while you're working. Look, I want to play golf. I don't get a chance to do it as much as I'd like to because I'm working. I'm constantly keeping educated to inform my clients. So when someone retires, they typically will spend more in the beginning years. Let me pose to you something, Mark, that happened that no one could have anticipated just a few months ago. The tariffs that were added and the costs that are coming into play. Do you think that people planned for this? So people's costs are going to go up. Another thing is, think about what healthcare costs is happening. Those costs go up every single year. So it's not that when we retire, our expenses decrease. In the beginning first decade or so, statistically, they actually will go up because people will pursue hobbies. They will want to travel. Their lifestyle is important, things like this. And quite frankly, your investments should be positioned to do so.
Yeah, that makes sense. So everybody's situation is unique. Some really are go-goers and can't wait to get to retirement and travel and do all the things they've dreamed about. Others maybe won't do as much, so maybe won't spend as much. Everybody's situation is unique. But I do think that's interesting, the idea, because at the end of the time, you have the go-go years, the slower go years where you can go, but I don't really feel like it anymore. Then you have the no-go years, but each one of those phases that we'll all go through, we're going to spend money in all of them because at the end, maybe it's long-term care. So there's always something taking our money. So you have to have a plan, because that's why the biggest concern of retirees today is the fear of outliving their money. Here's another myth, but before we get to that, I want to give you because you brought up healthcare, I'm going to ask you a myth about Medicare. But here's a Warren Buffett thing that Warren, had his big annual meeting in early May and announced that he's going to step down and retire at the age of 94, I think he is. But he said this. He said the U.S. healthcare system has grown from consuming 5% of our gross domestic product in 1960 to nearly 18% today. He says this reflects a significant increase in cost without corresponding improvements compared to other countries. So we pay way more than any other country for health care, and yet we don't get better care.
Correct.
That seems crazy.
Very challenging for a person who's retiring because these costs are going to continue to go up and up. It's
But I don't
quite
have to worry about it. Which will
huh?
lead, but I don't have to worry about it, Reed, because that's our next myth. I'm 65. I just started Part A of Medicare because I'm still working, so I have the hospital side and it's free. I didn't start Part B because that's what you got to start paying for when you goes hand in hand with Social Security. But I don't have to worry, Reed, because Medicare is going to cover all my health care costs.
I'm glad you called that a myth, Mark, because it is a myth. These costs are going to continue to rise. And, people are, as we're living longer, it's quite complex because you've got the pharmaceutical industry, you've got the insurance industry, and then the health. And so, depending on who's collecting from this pool, ultimately those premiums are going to come back to us, whether it's in Medicare, there's IRMA penalties. And so that planning phase of this is what we always consider on top of their lifestyle. Because if someone does go into a nursing home or needs care, Medicare will not cover that, nor will health insurance. So there is this myth that, well, Medicare will cover my health in case I need in home care. That is an absolute myth. So making sure that your long term care planning, health planning, is a part of this is essential because it will disrupt everything else.
And so I suppose that's where the Advantage plans come in, or the supplements that you can get that cover dental, vision, long-term care, or whatever. I mean, that's where you add in some of those things rather than just Part A, B, and D, basically.
You're correct. So the reason why we have specialists in this field, and so clients come to us and they want us to quarterback this. So many times, someone will have a estate planning attorney, or they may have a Medicare person, a health insurance person, a financial insurance people, and these professionals are not communicating. And so what we do is we bring in specialists in this field, because I am certainly not a specialist in Medicare, but we do have specialists that will help our clients to make sure that the plan they pick is around them. It's customized around them, not a one size fits all.
I would think if the biggest fear it's still, and it's been that way for a long time. I don't know. You've been in this over 20 years. How
Correct.
long do you think your clients have had the biggest fear that maybe drew them to you to make sure they would hopefully put that plan in place so they'd never have to worry about running out of money before they run out of life? If the biggest fear is running out of money, then one of the keys is never get sick, right?
Correct.
Right?
Yeah. Yeah. Never get sick. You won't have an issue. And also, if everything cooperates, right?
Yeah.
I saw that survey where 2/3 of the retirees, they were asked a very simple question: which do you fear more, death or running out of money? And 2/3 of them said running out of money over death.
Yeah.
Astonishing how these things occur, but it's real. I've met with people over the past few weeks, and Mark, the first thing they tell me is, this whole market jitters and everything else. I mean, it was scary. And so a good advisor's role is to address the person's philosophy, not have them buy into theirs. And that requires total planning, not just one aspect, tunnel vision.
Yeah, that makes a lot of sense. If you'd like to sit down with Reid and the team, you can certainly do so. Just call 951-596-5566. It's a 15-minute strategy call with Reid Abedeen, the managing partner at Safeguard Investment Advisory Group. He's going to give that time to you to see if the team at Safeguard can help. 951-596-5566, no cost to do just that. Might be the most important phone call you make at 951-596-5566. All right, let's knock out one more myth, and then we'll get to the others on the other side of the break. This one is Social Security alone will be enough for me to live on in retirement.
Boy, is that an interesting one. So if you're eating top ramen, you're good, and you have no rent or anything like this. Obviously, I'm joking there, but really, Social Security with the cost of living is rising. For most cases, it's not going to be enough. It is based on lifestyle, obviously, and how much you're collecting on Social Security. But ultimately, we do not seeing this being, a plan to protect you down the road. So Social Security will cover some things, not all of it. And of course, you do have a cost of living adjustment with Social Security. I think their increase is about 2 to 2.5% this year. It is clearly not going to be enough. And for many Americans, who retired and collecting Social Security, many of them are having it subject to tax. So, when I tell people who have not collected Social Security, gosh, if you make a certain amount of money, your Social Security is going to be taxed. They are astonished, Mark. They're like, wait a minute, I paid into the system. It's supposed to pay me money now, and they're going to tax me again on it. And I tell them, yes, unfortunately.
That is sad because I'm 65. I might be starting Social Security next year because I'm born in 1959. Full Social Security retirement age is 66 and 10 months. So I would hit that next year. So I might do it. But I know if I'm going to live on Social Security alone, then I better have no other debt. That's probably the key. And I suppose there are some, Reid, that have pensions and then they have Social Security and they both are really good. Maybe they could, but they've got to have something else. Social Security alone is a tall task. But one of your big decisions is when and how do we start Social Security? If you lose a spouse, don't forget the lower of the two Social Securities goes away. So now that surviving spouse has just one Social Security. And hey, the government says, dang, we feel sorry you lost your spouse, but next year we're going to have to file, you're going to have to tax your, pay your taxes as a single person. Now your taxes went up. So there, besides the emotional trauma of losing a spouse, there's a whole lot of financial implications. It's really about having a plan. The big picture blueprint that Reid and the team at Safeguard can walk you through is really kind of I think can ease some stress. 951-596-5566. And, of course, that 50-minute strategy call with Reid, no cost to you, 951-596-5566. We're talking retirement myths today. Back with more with Reid Abedeen right here on the Big Picture Retirement Show.
You're listening to the Big Picture Retirement Show with Reid Abedeen. For information about Reid and the Safeguard team, go to safeguardinvestment.com. While you're there, you can also download educational retirement guides and sign up for upcoming seminars at safeguardinvestment.com. Now, back to the podcast.
Welcome back to the Big Picture Retirement Show with Reid Abedeen, the managing partner at Safeguard Investment Advisory Group. Reid and the team are here to help you figure out where you are really on that road to retirement. Can I retire? Will our money last as long as we need it to? Are we going to be okay if we retire? Will my loved ones be okay if something happens to me? All those questions, Reid and the team are here to help you figure out the answers. 951-596-5566 is the number, no cost to you. 951-596-5566. I'm Mark Elliott. Glad you're with us today. We're talking about retirement myths. So we got 3 more myths to go, Reid. And, I think this is one that I'm kind of in that vein because I'm an idiot when it comes to cars. I like cars. And so if I had just the interest that I've paid on car payments, I probably could retire. But because I've paid all that interest, I can't retire. So here's the myth. Maybe it's not. Maybe I'm going to be fine. Some people think they don't need to save as much if they plan to keep working during their kind of retirement.
So that is also a myth, Mark, because look, I guess if your health is really good and you're going to work till 80 years of age, if that is a plan that you have in place, well, yeah, you don't need to save anything. And so I've had people tell me, hey, Reid, I don't think I'll be alive at 90 or 80. My point to them is you may be right, but making sure our plan is for you to be here is the way to go. Because if we plan on you not being here and you are here, the consequence of this is dire. So for you to assume that, hey, I just won't save as much as now because I'm going to work for another 2 decades or so, I think you are taking humongous risks with our health potentially occurring, accident, disability. You could be laid off. Making sure that just in case is covered will allow you to have control.
Reid, nobody in my family's ever lived past 82, so let's make my plan go to there. Well, now you're 83. What's going to happen? That's a good point there, no question. All right, here's one. And this one, I suppose there's probably good debt and bad debt, but here's the myth. You cannot really retire until all of your debt is paid off.
Yeah, this one is because I've been asked this for 2 decades constantly. Hey, Reid, I've got my mortgage. Should I pay it off? Because I've got money sitting in the bank. And my first question to them would be, what is your interest rate? And they'll tell me, oh, it's around 3 or 4. I said, nope, don't pay it off. Now, if their interest rate was high, then we would take that into consideration. Because one of the things that I always ask, and I'll say, look, if you pay off the home and you use up all your cash on low interest rate, who benefits from it? Because, statistically, when the kids come to inherit the home, what do they do with it? They
Sell it.
sell it.
Yeah.
So why not have this money available to you and you use it for the things you want in case there's also an emergency? Because if you pay off the home, what is your recourse? You're going to refinance the home at current, whatever the rates are. So that doesn't really make a sense. Now, on the other side of this, Mark, I've had people say, hey, I have a car loan at 7 or 8%. That I would say pay off. And if they have credit card debt, that is a big no-no. So my priority is always get rid of credit card debt if there is any.
Yeah, it makes sense. I mean, I think we would all love to be debt free. But I take your point. I mean, I think my mortgage is 2.9%. I mean, why would I really worry about that? That's a pretty
Why
good.
would you pay
I
it
could
off?
put money in a CD and make more than that.
Yeah.
So that makes sense. But I would think, is there ever a time though where you've sat down with somebody and they're like, Reid, our whole goal in life was to get into retirement and be debt free. So for our emotional stability, we want to pay off the house. That probably has happened, hasn't it?
Sure, it has. It has. But I cover the math with them first, and then I will let them make the decision, and it will be a decision based on the math, not based on an emotion or just a reaction to it. I know Dave Ramsey does a great job of saying, hey, be debt free. I've heard other experts that say, hey, you should have all this debt because it's tax free. Both are not applicable to everyone, of course. And so I have a mortgage on my home. It's very low interest rate. I'm creating leverage because I can pay it off anytime I want, but I also have the money invested. And I get a tax deduction, which doesn't hurt.
Yeah, makes perfect sense. So I think there's no doubt if you had the opportunity, maybe use a credit card, but pay it off every month if you can do that. And not everybody can. There's no question about that. But really the idea is you need a plan and a strategy. That is what Safeguard Investment Advisor Group is all about, is helping you figure out where you are and how can they help. You think, well, they're all about, Reid just wants to sell me something. That's not the case. They can help you in the market world, the world of equities, stocks, bonds, ETFs, and mutual funds and all of that. They can also help you in the world of annuities and life insurance. You need growth, we're in the equity side. You need protection, you're in the insurance side. But there's combinations of two that can really make a big difference. If you'd like to learn more and really find out where you are, I think that's the key, getting clarity into your situation. Reid and the team would love to have a conversation. So 15-minute strategy call with Reid Abedeen is available for no cost to you just by picking up the phone, 951-596-5566, 951-596-5566. 5566. It's a 15-minute strategy call. They can't go wrong, can they, Reid?
No, they can't. And I'll show you in that 15-minute strategy call how to be proactive, how to become an informed consumer, what steps you should consider, and most importantly, what you should avoid. Oftentimes, people are told why they should have things. What tends to be left out is why you shouldn't. And when an investment selection or decision is made, ultimately, if it's a poor one, the institution will never pay the price. Only the consumer does. That's why I'm offering this 15-minute strategy call, make you aware of some situations so that you can stay informed and proactive.
951-596-5566. All right, about a minute and a half left. Or no, a couple of 2.5 minutes left. I'm going to give you the last myth. So you got time to chat about this one a little bit. And this is the belief that legacy planning can wait. Now, Reid, here's the deal. I've got a 24-year-old daughter that was paralyzed in a car wreck as a senior in high school at 17. So she's really strong. I appreciate it, but boy, she has some hardships. There's no doubt about it. But, I mean, I don't really need to plan anything for her yet because I'm 65. Nothing will happen until I'm in my 80s. So that's when I start thinking about legacy planning, right?
Yeah, we should just, our expiration date is written on our foreheads, right? And so, no, you should not. That is a myth. You should have estate planning done. I have 3 children. I love them dearly. My wife and I, our plan is around us, of course, just like you would be for you, Mark. But if you don't spend it, if something were to happen, being proactive means handling these things now so that it protects your family, your loved ones in the event. No one can, that crystal ball, mine doesn't tell me a darn thing. So making sure your estate planning will not only save taxes, avoid probate, especially for us in California. It is extreme. It takes a long time, but it will prevent any fighting for your children and your loved ones.
So we don't know what the future holds. That's kind of the idea. And that's the reason that you would like to walk through that big picture blueprint, I think, with Reid. And it's income, investment, taxes, healthcare, legacy planning. Social Security, it's in the income part. Medicare, it's in the healthcare part. It is all about you because everybody's situation is unique. Some people need $20,000 a month to live on. Others need $5,000. Most be right in between probably, but everybody's situation is unique. Some can't wait to retire because they can't wait to travel the world. Others can't wait, like me, just to go play golf. So everybody has different goals and dreams when it comes to retirement. And that's what Reid and Rick and Eddie and the team at Safeguard Investment Advisory Group are all about, is creating that big picture blueprint for you. It's all about you. It's not going to be the same as your relatives, your brothers, your sisters, your mom, your dad, your grandparents. It's going to be about you. How can Reid and the team help? So it's a 15-minute strategy call with Reid Abedeen. There is no cost to you. It makes no sense to me why you wouldn't take advantage of this opportunity to get some clarity into your situation. Again, the number 951-596-5566, 951-596-5566. And you can always just text VISIT to that number as well, 951-596-5566. Reid, final thoughts?
I would encourage people to take advantage of this. It's going to be worth your time. One of the things that we tell people, Mark, is we realize your time is valuable. We're not here to waste it. We'll give you some ideas to implement to improve your retirement.
So there you go, 951-596-5566. Thanks to Reid Abedeen, and we hope you, all of you, Reid included, I hope you all have a great weekend. We'll be back with you next weekend right here on the Big Picture Retirement Show with Reid Abedeen.
Firm offers insurance services. Safeguard Investment Advisory Group, LLC, is a registered investment advisory firm. Investing involves risk, including the potential loss of principal. Any references to protection, safety, or lifetime income generally refer to fixed insurance products, never securities or investments. Insurance guarantees are backed by the financial strength and claims-paying abilities of the issuing carrier. This radio show is intended for informational purposes only. It is not intended to be used as the sole basis for financial decisions, nor should it be construed as advice designed to meet the particular needs of an individual's situation. Safeguard Investment Advisory Group, LLC, is not permitted to offer, and no statement made during this show shall constitute tax or legal advice. Our firm is not affiliated with or endorsed by the U.S. government or any governmental agency. The information and opinions contained herein provided by third parties have been obtained from sources believed to be reliable, but accuracy and completeness cannot be guaranteed by Safeguard Investment Advisory Group, LLC.